Shagun Adeshanya, a wealthy farmer in Nigeria, lived a peaceful life with his lovely wife, Adenike, and their beautiful daughter, Abike. One evening, the family sat together on their porch, enjoying the cool breeze after a long day of work. "Papa, how was the farm today?" Abike asked, her eyes shining with curiosity. Shagun smiled warmly at his daughter. "It was a good day, my dear. The crops are growing well, and the workers are doing great." Adenike nodded in agreement. "We are truly blessed. I made some fresh palm oil today. Would you like to taste it, Shagun?" Shagun's eyes lit up. "Of course, my dear. Your palm oil is the best in the village." Abike giggled. "Mama, can I help you with the palm oil tomorrow?" "Of course, Abike," Adenike said, gently patting his daughter's hand. "You are always such a help." The family laughed and talked late into the evening, sharing stories and making plans for their future. Shagun felt immense pride and happiness as he looked at his wife and daughter. They were the light of his life, and he would do anything to protect them. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Shagun stood up and stretched. "It's time for bed, everyone. We have another busy day ahead of us tomorrow." Adenike and Abike agreed, and they all went into their home, grateful for peace and happy life they shared. Titi was Adenike's friend. They had known each other since they were young girls. Titi often visited Adenike's home, and on the surface, everything seemed fine. But deep inside, Titi's heart was filled with jealousy. One day, Titi came visiting. She watched how Shagun helped Adenike with the household chores and how he always had a kind word for her. Titi saw how Shagun played with Abike, lifting her up and making her laugh. The sight of their happy family life made Titi feel envious. "Shagun, you are such a good husband," Titi said, forcing a smile. "Adenike is very lucky." "Thank you, Titi," Shagun replied warmly. "I am the lucky one to have such a wonderful wife and daughter." Titi felt a pang in her heart. She wanted a life like Adenike's, but instead she had always struggled. She couldn't help but compare her life to Adenike's and feel bitter about it. Later, when Titi and Adenike was alone, Titi tried to hide her feelings. "Adenike, you seem so happy. How do you do it?" Adenike smiled. "It is all about love and understanding, Titi. Shagun and I work together as a team, and Abike brings us so much joy." Titi nodded, but her mind was elsewhere. "I wish I had a life like yours," she thought to herself. "Why does Adenike get to have everything?" As days turned into weeks, Titi grew jealous. Every time she visited, she saw more things to envy. Shagun's loving gestures, Adenike's happy smile, and Abike's innocent laughter all seemed to mock her lonely and difficult life. One evening, after another visit, filled with bitterness, Titi sat alone in her small house. She couldn't stop thinking about Adenike's happiness. The more she thought about it, the more her jealousy turned into anger. "Why should Adenike have all this happiness while I have nothing?" she whispered to herself. "I deserve to be happy." Titi's heart grew darker as she let her jealousy consume her. She began to think of ways she could have what Adenike had. She started visiting more often, pretending to be a good friend, while secretly harboring her envious thoughts. Adenike, unaware of Titi's true feelings, continued to welcome her friend warmly. She shared her joys and her struggles, not knowing that Titi was plotting behind her. One day, as Titi watched Adenike and Shagun together, a plan began to form in her heart. It was indeed a very dangerous and wicked plan, but Titi did not care. She was determined to have the happiness she believed she deserved, no matter the cost. And so, with a jealous heart and a mind full of schemes, Titi set her plan into motion, ready to disrupt the peaceful life of the Adeshaya family. Titi stood by the window of her small house, staring out at the vast field that stretched towards the horizon. She thought about Adenike, her childhood friend, who lived in a large prosperous farm, and her husband Shagun. Titi envied Adenike's life. She wanted the comfort, the stability, and most of all, she wanted Shagun. A plan began to form in her mind. It was a devious plan, but Titi was determined to take Adenike's place. A few days later, Titi decided to visit Adenike at the farm. She wore a bright, friendly smile. As she approached the house, Adenike welcomed her warmly, not suspecting anything. The two women sat on the porch, sipping cold drinks and chatting about old times. Adenike, your farm looks more beautiful every time I see it, Titi said, looking around. You must be very happy here with Shagun. Yes, we are doing well, Adenike replied, smiling. Shagun works very hard, and the farm is thriving. Titi nodded, her mind racing with her plan. You are lucky to have such a wonderful husband, she said. He is very devoted to you. Yes, so Shagun is such a good man. As they continued to talk, Titi softly steering the conversation towards her plan. She began to ask about Shegun's routine, his habits, and the things he liked. Adenike, trusting her friend, answered all the questions without suspicion. Titi, you must come for dinner one day, Adenike said. Shegun would love to see you. That sounds wonderful, Titi replied, hiding her excitement. I would love to come. The visit ended with warm goodbyes, but as Titi walked away from the farm, her mind was filled with sinister plans. She knew that she had to act carefully and cleverly. She had made her plan, and she needs to gain Shegun's trust and affection. And she will also need to find a way to push Adenike out of the picture. Over the next few weeks, Titi's visits to the farm became more frequent. She brought small gifts for Adenike and Shegun, always making sure to be helpful and friendly. She offered so much help to Adenike with her chores, and soon she became a regular presence at the farm. Shagun noticed Titi's frequent visits, but didn't think much of it. He appreciated the extra help, and Titi's cheerful demeanor made the days seem brighter. He didn't see the calculating glint in her eyes as she watched him work. One evening, Titi stayed for dinner. She had made a special effort to look nice, wearing a dress that she knew Shagun would like. As they sat down to eat, Titi complimented Shagun on his hard work and dedication to the farm. Shagun smiled and pleased with the praise. Titi, you are always so kind. It is nice to have you here. Adenike, unaware of Titi's true intentions, was happy to see and have a friend around. She didn't notice the way Titi looked at Shagun or the way she lingered a little longer when she touched his arm. After dinner, Titi offered to help Shagun with some work in the barn. Adenike stayed in the house, thinking nothing of it. In the barn, Titi seized the opportunity to get closer to Shagun. Shagun, you work so hard, she said, her voice soft and sweet. You deserve someone who appreciates you. Shagun looked at her, slightly puzzled. Adenike appreciates me, he said. We are happy together. Titi smiling, hiding her frustration. Of course you are, she said quickly. I just meant you are a very special man, and not everyone sees that. Shagun didn't reply, but he felt a strange unease. He brushed it off, thinking that Titi was just being friendly. Little did he know that she was planting the seed of her devious plan. As Titi left the farm that night, she felt a surge of excitement. Her plan was starting to take shape. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to take Adenike's place and live the life she had always dreamed of. She just needed to be patient and wait for the right moment to strike. That morning, when the sun was shining brightly, as Titi walked to the farm, birds were singing and the air was fresh. Titi greeted everyone with a cheerful smile. Good morning. She wanted people to think she was kind and friendly. No one suspected her true intention. When Titi arrived at the farm, she saw Adenike working hard. Adenike was feeding the chicken and watering the plant. She looked up and saw Titi approaching. Hello, Adenike. Hello, Titi. What a nice surprise. Hello, Adenike. I was just thinking about you and decided to come and help you with your work. Adenike was happy and appreciated the company. Thank you so much. The two friends walked side by side, laughing and talking. As the day went on, Adenike began to feel tired. She suggested they take a break and have some lunch. They sat under a big tree and shared food, a simple meal. Titi saw this as a chance. Titi, would you like something to drink? Adenika asked kindly. Yes, please. You have been working so hard, you deserve to rest. That is very thoughtful of you. Titi went to the kitchen and poured two glasses of juice. She took out a small vial from her pocket and carefully poured its contents into one of the glasses. It was poison, and Titi knew it would harm Adenike. She stirred the drink to make sure that the poison was mixed well. Adenike's health began to decline. Despite the doctor's best effort, the poison had caused too much damage. Each day, Adenike grew weaker and more frail. Her friends Shagun and Abik visited her often, trying to lift her spirit and help her as much as they could. One evening, Adenike was lying in the bed, feeling very tired. She looked up at Shagun and Abike, who were sitting by her side, their faces filled with worry and sadness. Thank you for being here, Adenike said softly. Her voice was weak, but filled with gratitude. Shagun held her hand gently. We are here for you, Adenike. We will always be here for you. Abike nodded, tears streaming down her face. We love you very much, Mommy. Adenike smiled weakly. She knew her time was running out, but she felt comforted by the love and support of her family. I love you both. Please take care of each other and the farm. Shegu and Abike promised to honor her wishes. They stayed by her side, holding her hands, talking to her until she fell asleep. Adenike's breathing became slower and more shallow as the night went on. In the early hours of the morning, Adenike took her last breath. She passed away peacefully, surrounded by her loved ones. Shegun and Abike were heartbroken. They had lost a dear mother and a wife, someone who had always been a vital part of their lives. The news of Adenike's passing spread quickly through the village. Everyone who knew her was shocked and saddened. Adenike had been a kind and hardworking woman, loved by many. Her death left a void in the community. Shegun and Abike organized a funeral to honor Adenike's memory. People from all over the village came to pay their last respects. They shared stories of Adenike's kindness and hard work, remembering the good times they all shared with her. At the funeral, Shegun stood up to speak. His voice was heavy with emotion. Adenike was more than just a wife. She was my best friend. She showed us what it meant to be strong and kind. We will miss her every day, but will keep her spirit alive by taking care of her. Abike spoke next, her voice breaking with tears. Adenike had a heart full of love and generosity. She always put others before herself. We are lucky to have had her in our life. The funeral was filled with tears and sorrows. After the funeral, Shegun and Abike returned to the farm. It felt empty without Adenike, but they knew they had to carry on. They worked together, remembering the lessons Adenike had taught them. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. The pain of losing Adenike never fully went away, but Shegun and Abike found strength in each other and in the memories of her. They often talked about her, sharing stories and laughing about good times. Titi started visiting Shegun often. She brought some delicious food and offered comfort. Shegun enjoyed her company and looked forward to her visit. Titi was happy she did. But Titi had a secret. She added a charm to the food she brought. This charm was meant to make Shegun fall in love with her. Titi hoped the charm would work and that Shegun would love her back. One day, Titi arrived at Shegun's house with a basket of warm, tasty stew. I made this for you. The stew was delicious and Shegun praised Titi's cooking. As the days went by, Titi continued to visit Shegun. She always brought food and made sure to add the charm. Shegun began to feel different. He found himself thinking about Titi more and more. He enjoyed her visit and missed her when she wasn't there. Titi noticed the change in Shagun. He seemed happier and more affectionate. Her plan was indeed working. Shagun was starting to fall in love with her. One evening, Shagun took Titi's hand and said, "Titi, I feel so happy when you are around me. You have brought so much joy into my life." "I feel the same way, Shagun," she replied softly. The charm had worked its magic. Shagun's feeling for Titi grew stronger every day. Titi was overjoyed, but also felt a twinge of guilt. She wondered if Shagun would fall in love with her without the charm. As the bond deepened, Titi continued to visit Shagun, bringing him food and sharing happy moments. Shagun's feeling for Titi grew stronger every day. He couldn't imagine his life without her. Shagun prepared a special dinner at his house. He cooked Titi's favorite meal. When Titi arrived, she was surprised and touched by the effort Shagun had put. After they finished eating, "Titi," he said, looking into her eyes, "you have brought me so much happiness. Will you marry me?" Titi's heart raced with joy. "Yes, Shagun, I will." Shagun slipped the ring into Titi's finger and they embraced. Titi was thrilled, but deep down she knew that Shagun's feelings were influenced by the charm she had used. Meanwhile, Abike, Shagun's daughter, noticed the change in him. She saw how quickly Shagun had fallen for Titi and felt something was not right. Abike was confused and upset. She cared deeply for Shagun and couldn't understand why he was so enamored with Titi. One day, Abike confronted Shagun. "Daddy, are you sure about this? Do you really know Titi very well enough to marry her?" Shagun, still under the charm of influence, dismissed Abike's worries. "Abike, I love Titi. I know she loves me too." Abike sighed, feeling helpless. She didn't want to see Shagun make a mistake, but she couldn't convince him to see Titi's true nature. The charm had clouded his judgment, and he was blind to Titi's deceit. As Shagun and Titi began planning their wedding, Abike watched from the sidelines, hoping that Shagun would eventually see the truth. She wished for his happiness, but feared that Titi's secret would one day come out to light and break his heart. Will Shagun discover the truth about Titi before it is too late? The day dawned bright and clear, the perfect backdrop of a wedding. Titi woke up early, her heart pounding. She looked around her room, now filled with trappings of a bride. Her beautiful white dress hanging over the door. Today was the day she had dreamt of. Titi's home was bustling with activity. Her mother was in charge of the preparation, making sure that everything went smoothly. Her mother was proud of the daughter and wanted this day to be perfect. She oversaw every detail of the preparation. Titi's friends gathered around her, helping her to get ready. Her wedding dress was beautiful. Titi felt a mixture of emotion. She was excited to marry Shagun and start their life together. Meanwhile, at Shagun's house, things were just as lively. Shagun was surrounded by his friends and family, congratulating him. His father gave him a firm pat on the back and a few words of wisdom. "Always respect and love Titi," he said. "A good marriage is built of mutual respect and understanding." The wedding ceremony took place in a large, beautifully decorated hall. Flowers adorned every corner. Guests arrived. As the music started, signaling the beginning of the ceremony, everyone took to their seats. Shego stood at the altar, looked handsome in his suit. He couldn't stop smiling. The ceremony was beautiful. The couple exchanged vows, promising to love and cherish each other forever. They exchanged rings, a symbol of their unending love. When the officiating priest finally pronounced them husband and wife, the whole room was applauded. After the ceremony, it was time for the reception. The hall was transformed into a expressive space with a large dance step. Guests mingled and danced. As night went on, Titi felt a new sense of power and control. She was now the mistress of Shagun's household. She had always been strong and independent, but being married to Shagun gave her a new confidence. But Titi had plans. She wanted more than just a happy marriage. She wanted to control. She started by making sure Shagun's daughter, Abike, had limited access to her father. Abike was a sweet girl, but Titi saw her as a threat, ensuring that she was always busy with schools or activities when Shagun was at home. Slowly, Shagun spent less and less time with his daughter, and Titi's influence grew. Next, Titi turned her attention to Adenike's property and clothes. Adenike had always had a taste of fine things, and Titi had long admired her wardrobe and belongings. Now, as the wife of the house, Titi felt it was her right to claim those items. She started by moving some of Adenike's clothing into her own wardrobe, making it clear that she was now in charge. Abike, surprised but not wanting to cause a scene, quietly accepted the change. Over time, Titi took more and more of Adenike's things. She moved into the master bedroom, redecorated the house to her taste, and made it clear that she was now the lady of the house. The newfound power extended beyond the household. She began to involve herself in Shagun's business affairs, offering advice and making decisions. Shagun, initially pleased with Titi's interest, started to rely on her more and more. Titi's influence grew, and she revealed in her new position. But power came with its own challenges. Titi had to navigate the complexities of her new life, balancing her ambition with. As months passed, Titi became more confident and assertive. She took control of the household, making sure everything ran smoothly. She managed the finances, oversaw the staff, and made sure Shagun's business thrived. Titi had always been strong, but now she felt more powerful. One evening, after a particularly busy day, Titi and Shagun sat together. Today was perfect, Titi said. Shagun smiled. I am happy we are finally married. Me too. I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. Titi looked around their new home, imagining all the happy times they would share. She felt powerful and strong. How do you think Abike feels about Titi's influence over Shagun and her limited access to her father? In fact, she did more. Titi was harsh and cruel. She made Abike do all the chores in the house. Every morning, Abike woke up early to clean, cook and wash. Titi never helped. Instead, she watched and criticized. Do it faster, she would shout. Abike tried her best, but Titi was never satisfied. She treated Abike like a servant, giving her no rest. Abike felt sad and tired, but she had no choice. She had to do what Titi said. One day, Abike burned her hand while cooking. She showed Titi, hoping for some sympathy. Why are you so careless? Titi snapped. Finish cooking and stop complaining. Tears filled Abike's eyes, but she went back to work. She missed the days when her mother, Adenike, cared for her. Now she didn't know how much she could take. Shagun, Abike's father, was deeply under Titi's charm. He saw only what Titi wanted him to see. In his eyes, Titi was the perfect stepmother, caring and kind. He didn't notice the harsh treatment. When Shagun came back from work, Titi greeted him with a warm smile. Dinner is ready, she said, leading him to the table. Abike, exhausted from her chores, would serve them quietly, hoping her father might see her pain. Abike, you have such a wonderful stepmother. Shagun will often say, you should be grateful. Yes, Papa, she replied, hiding her heart. One evening, Titi mustered courage and went to see the father. Papa, Mommy Titi is not as kind as you think. She began cautiously. But Shagun interrupted her. Abike, don't speak ill of Titi. She had done nothing but care for us. You are just being ungrateful. Abike's heart sank. Her father was blinded to Titi's cruelty. She realized that as long as Shagun remained under Titi's spell, she would have to endure the maltreatment alone. Days turned into weeks, and Abike's burden grew heavier. She continued to endure Titi's harsh treatment in silence, her spirit growing more weary each day. One afternoon, while scrubbing the floor, Abike heard a knock at the door. She opened it to find an old family friend, Mrs. Oladele, standing there. Mrs. Oladele had known Abike since she was a child and has always been kind to her. Hello, Abike, Mrs. Oladele greeted. How are you? Please come in. As Mrs. Oladele stepped inside, she immediately noticed Abike's tired eyes and the calluses on her hands. You don't look fine. Tell me what is going on. Abike hesitated, but something in Mrs. Oladele's kind eyes made her feel safe. She poured out her heart, telling her about Titi's cruelty and her father's blindness to it. Mrs. Oladele listened carefully, her face growing stern. "This is not right, Abike," she said firmly. "You deserve better." Mrs. Oladele decided to stay for dinner, wanting to see Titi's behavior for herself. That evening, as they all sat on the table, Titi's true nature emerged. She snapped at Abike over a minor mistake, her voice harsh and unforgiving. Shagun, as usual, didn't notice, but Mrs. Oladele did. She calmly but firmly addressed Titi. "Titi, I see how you treat Abike, and it is unacceptable." Titi was taken aback, her face flushing with anger. Shagun looked confused and worried. "What do you mean, Mrs. Oladele?" he asked. "I mean that Abike is being mistreated," Mrs. Oladele said, her voice steady. "And you, Shagun, need to open your eyes. Your daughter needs your support." Shagun looked at Abike, really looked at her for the first time in a long while. He saw the tiredness in her eyes, the sadness in her face. "Abike, is this true?" he said softly. "Yes, Papa, it is true." Shagun felt a guilt of regret. He turned to Titi with his expression. "We need to talk." Abike had grown into a beautiful young woman. Her smile was warm and her eyes sparkled with joy. Her kindness touched everyone. Her family was proud of her. One evening, Abike was helping her stepmother in the kitchen when they heard a knock. Titi wiped her hands. At the door, it was a tall man who greeted them with a smile. "Good morning. My name is Femi. I have come to ask for your daughter's hand in marriage." Titi was surprised but pleased. "Come in, Femi," she said, leading him to the living room. She called Shagun to join them. Abike, curious about the visitor, stayed in the kitchen peeping. She saw Femi talking to her parents. "Abike, this is Femi," Shagun said. "He has come to ask for your hand in marriage." Abike blushed and greeted Femi. They talked for a while and Abike found him charming. He spoke about his job, his family and his dream for the future. Abike liked what she heard but wanted some time to think about it. "Thank you, Femi," Abike said politely. "I need time to consider your proposal." Femi nodded with understanding. Over the next few weeks, more suitors came for Abike's hand in marriage. There was Aden, a successful businessman with a kind heart, and then there was Kunle, a doctor who loved helping people. Each suitor had something special, but Abike felt overwhelmed by the choices. One evening, Abike sat with her parents in the garden, thinking about her suitors. "Father, how will I know who is the right man for me?" Abike said, looking worried. Titi smiled and took her hand. "Abike, listen to your heart. The right man will always make you feel happy and safe. He will respect and love your dreams. Choose wisely. Take your time." Abike nodded, feeling a little better. She decided to spend more time with each suitor to get to know them. She went on walks with Femi, had a long conversation with Ade, and visited Kunle at his hospital. As the days passed, Abike found herself thinking about one suitor more than the others. She realized she had strong feelings for Femi. He was kind, caring, and always made her laugh. Abike felt happy and safe when she was with him. One evening, as the sun was setting, Femi came to visit Abike's family. He brought flowers and a shy smile. "Femi, I have come to ask for the answer." Abike looked into his eyes. "I will be honored to be your wife." He was so happy and hugged her. Abike felt grateful for her parents' guidance and for the love she had found. Abike was excited she was going to meet Femi, a kind and handsome young man who had shown interest in her. Her heart was full of hope. But Abike's stepmother Titi had other plans. Titi was jealous of Abike's beauty and kindness. She wanted all the attention and love for herself. Whenever Femi came to visit Abike, Titi would always find ways to spoil their meeting. One evening, Femi came to visit Abike. They were talking and laughing in the living room. Titi saw them and her face twisted with anger. She waited for the right moment, then called Femi into the kitchen. "Femi, I need to talk to you." Femi followed her, curious. Titi began to speak in a low, serious voice. "Femi, you seem like a nice young man, but I have to warn you about Abike. She's not as kind and sweet as she appears. She's very selfish and has a bad temper." Femi was shocked. "Really? Abike seems so gentle and kind." "That's just an art," she said, shaking her head sadly. "She has hurt many people with her behavior. I wouldn't want you to be her next victim. Femi left the house, his mind filled with doubt. Abike noticed that he was distant and cold. She wondered what had gone wrong. She thought they were getting along so well. This pattern continued with each time Femi came to visit Abike. Titi would always find a way to speak to him alone, spreading lies and rumors. She would say Abike was lazy and unkind, or even that she was seeing someone else. The Femi would lose interest and Abike would be left heartbroken. One day, Abike could not take it anymore. She was furious and heartbroken. She sat in her room crying. Why is Titi doing this to me? Why is she so cruel? She asked herself. Abike decided to confront Titi. She wiped her tears and went to the kitchen. Titi, why are you doing this to me? Titi looked up pretending. Doing what? Why are you lying to Femi and ruining my chances of finding happiness? What did I do to deserve it? Titi's face hardened. You don't deserve happiness, Abike. You are not my real daughter. Why should I care about your feelings? Abike was stunned. She had always known that Titi didn't like her, but she didn't expect her stepmother to be so openly cruel. I may not be your real daughter, but I have never done anything to hurt you. Why are you doing this to me? Titi turned away, not answering. Abike felt a surge of determination. She knew she had to take control of her life. She wouldn't let Titi continue to ruin her chances. Abike sat by the window, staring out in the world. She felt so far away. Abike's heart was heavy with sorrow. She felt trapped under her stepmother's Titi's cruel watch. Titi's words from her last confrontation still echoed in her mind. You don't deserve happiness, Abike. You are not even my real daughter. Days turned into weeks, and Abike's sadness deepened. She felt lonely and isolated. Titi controlled every aspect of her life. She wasn't allowed to go out or have friends. Even Femi tried to visit. Titi would find ways to keep them apart. One rainy day, Abike sat in her room, tears streaming down her face. She hugged her pillow. She felt completely alone. Her friend didn't understand what she was going through because she was too ashamed to tell them. Ade stood firm. I don't care about Titi's life. I love Abike and I want to marry her. Abike's heart fluttered. She couldn't believe someone was standing up for her against Titi's scheme. Titi, frustrated, tried one last time. Ade, you don't know anything. Abike isn't the right person for you. But Ade shook his head. Abike looked at Ade with tears of gratitude in her eyes. Thank you, Ade, she whispered. Ade smiled. Don't worry, Abike. We will get through this together. Abike and Ade knew they had to be careful. Titi's influence and anger was not to be taken lightly, so they decided to meet in secret, planning every detail of their future without her interference. Abike, we need to be very careful. Titi can't know about our plans until it is too late for her to stop us. Abike nodded. I know, Ade, but I'm scared. Titi can be very dangerous when she is angry. We'll get through together. Ade reassured her. I've already spoken to a pastor in the neighboring village. He has agreed to marry us quietly. We just need to pick a date and get everything ready. Abike felt a surge of hope. Thank you, Ade. I don't know what I would have done without you. As days passed, Abike and Ade continued to meet in secret, finalizing their plans. They decided to get married in a month, giving them just enough time to make all the arrangements without raising suspicions. But Titi was sharp. She noticed Abike sleeping out and returning with glow on her face. Suspicious, she decided to follow Abike one evening. Titi's heart burned with rage as she watched Abike and Ade together, laughing and talking. So this is why she's been acting strange. Titi thought, they think they can outsmart me. I will show them. Titi stormed back home, her mind racing with ways to stop the wedding. She knew she had to act quickly. The next day, Titi confronted Abike. Where are you sneaking off to? Abike tried to stay calm. Nowhere. Liar. Titi spat. I have seen you with Ade. You think you can marry him without my permission. Abike's heart pounded. Titi, please understand. I love Ade and he loves me. Why can't you be happy with us? Happy? Titi laughed bitterly. I will never let you marry Ade. I have other plans for you. Abike felt a chill run down her spine. What do you mean? She asked. Why can't you let me be happy? Happy? Titi laughed bitterly. I will never let you marry Ade, she said. Abike ran to Ade that evening, tears streaming down her face. Ade, Titi knows about us. She's planning something to stop our wedding. Ade held her close. Don't worry, Abike. We'll figure this out. We just have to move faster. They decided to move the wedding up, planning to leave for the neighboring village in just a week. Ade made all the necessary arrangements, ensuring everything was ready. As the day approached, Titi became more furious. She tried to sabotage their plan, spreading lies about Abike and Ade, causing more trouble whenever she could. Abike, who was sitting in her small room, lost in her thoughts when she heard a loud knock. She opened it to find Titi. We need to talk, Ade. Meanwhile, Ade had a meeting with his best friend, Olamide. They were discussing in a small cafe, discussing the latest development. Ade, are you sure about this? Titi is not someone to be taken lightly. Ade nodded firmly. I'm sure. I love Abike and I want to marry her. I need your help. Olamide signed. All right. What do you need me to do? I want you to speak to Abike's family on my behalf. Ade explained. Ask for her hand in marriage. I know it is unconventional, but I believe it will show them how serious I am. Olamide looked thoughtful. But it's a bold move, Ade. But if it will help you and Abike, I will do it. The next morning, Olamide went to see Abike's family. Her father Shagun was a stern man who valued tradition and respect. When Olamide arrived, he was greeted with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Good morning, Mr. Shagun, Olamide said respectfully. I am here on behalf of my friend Ade. He wishes to ask for Abike's hand in marriage. Shagun raised an eyebrow. And why is Ade not here himself? He wants to show his respect for your family, Olamide explained. He thought it would be more appropriate for a trusted friend to come first. Shagun nodded slowly. Very well. Tell Ade he may come speak with me himself. When Olamide relayed the message to Ade, he felt a surge of hope. It was a small step, but it was progress. That evening, Ade went to see Mr. Olumide, his heart pounding with nervous anticipation. Good evening, sir. Ade greeted. I am happy to formally ask for Abike's hand in marriage. Shagun looked at Ade carefully. You must understand, Ade, that this is not a decision to be taken lightly. Abike is my daughter, and her happiness is my priority. I understand, sir, Ade replied. I love Abike, and I want to spend the rest of my life with her. Ade felt a wave of relief and joy when Shagun considered his word. Very well, you have my permission, but remember, you must honor and cherish her. When Ade told Abike the news, she was overwhelmed with happiness. Despite Titi's threats, their love had prevailed. They embraced, knowing that together they would face any challenges that came their way. Abike and Ade were so excited as the wedding preparation was in place. Everyone was happy, but not Titi, Abike's stepmother, who had never liked Ade. She thought Abike wasn't good enough for Ade. Titi had her reasons, but they were selfish. She was jealous of Abike's happiness and success, so Titi secretly planned to ruin the wedding. As the days went by, Titi began to set her plan in motion. On the night before the wedding, Titi made a final attempt. She snuck into the house where the wedding dress was kept. She intended to ruin it, but she reached for the dress. She heard footsteps. It was Abike's friend coming to check on the preparation. Titi quickly hid. The wedding day, the sun rose, casting a golden glow over everything. Meanwhile, Ade and his friends were also getting ready. They laughed and joked. As guests arrived, Titi grew more nervous. Her plan to ruin the wedding had failed, but she wasn't ready to give up yet. The ceremony began beautifully. The hall was decorated. Just as the vows were about to be exchanged, Titi made her move. She stood up and started shouting, accusing Ade of being unfaithful. The guests gasped and hushed over the room. Abike looked at Ade, who looked at her with steady eyes. Ade took Abike's hand and spoke clearly. Abike, I love you. I have always been faithful to you. These accusations are false. Abike believed him. She turned to the guests and said, "This is our day, and no one will ruin it." Titi's plan had failed. The guests began to murmur, and it was clear they did not believe her. Embarrassed, Titi left the hall, realizing her mistakes. The ceremony continued without further interruption. Abike and Ade exchanged vows. The reception was joyous. At night came, Abike and Ade thanked the guests. They were ready to start their new life afresh. As Shagun couldn't understand what was wrong, he felt restless and uneasy. The once comfortable presence of Titi, his wife, now felt disturbing. He began to see things he hadn't noticed before, like the way Titi spoke to Abike. One evening, Abike visited. She prepared a meal. As they sat together in the living room, Titi made a snide comment about Abike's cooking. "This soup is so bland. Can't you just ever get it right?" Shagun's stomach turned. He had heard Titi make similar remarks before, but now they struck him differently. He saw the hurt in Abike's eyes, though she tried to hide it with a smile. Shagun's heart ached with guilt. How had he not seen this cruelty before? As days passed, Shagun's discomfort grew. He watched Titi more closely and saw how often she belittled Abike, making her feel small and unworthy. One afternoon, Shagun decided he needed to confront Titi. He found her in the garden tending to the flowers. "Titi, we need to talk." "What is it?" He took a deep breath. "I have been feeling strange since the wedding. At first, I didn't understand it, but now I do. The charm you used on me is wearing off." Titi's expression changed to one of concern, but Shagun could see a flicker of fear in her eyes. "What are you talking about?" Shagun didn't back down. "I see things clearly now. I see how you've been treating Abike. You've been cruel to her, Titi, and I regret ever letting you influence me." Titi's face twisted in anger. "Cruel? I'm only honest. If Abike can't handle the truth, that's her problem." Shagun shook his head. "No, Titi, there's a difference between honesty and cruelty. You've been hurting her, and I was too blind to see it because of your charm." Titi stepped closer, her voice low and menacing. "You owe everything to me. Without my help, you wouldn't be where you are today." Shagun felt a surge of anger. "I don't owe you my happiness, and I won't let you hurt Abike anymore." With that, Shagun turned and walked away, leaving Titi fuming in the garden. He went straight to Abike, who was sitting in the kitchen looking sad and lost. He took her in the hands and looked into her eyes. "Abike, I am sorry. I see now what Titi has been doing to me. I'm going to make it right." Abike's eyes filled with tears. "Daddy, I thought you didn't care." Shego shook his head. "I care so much. The charm she used on me made me blind, but not anymore." Together, Shagun and Abike decided to distance themselves from Titi. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. They focused on rebuilding father and daughter relationship, free from Titi's toxic influence. Shagun supported Abike in every way he could, making sure she knew how much he valued her. In times, the wound began to heal. Shagun's feeling for Titi faded completely, replaced by a deep love and respect for Abike. They faced the challenges together. Titi, feeling trapped in the web of lies, knew she had to come clean. She found Shagun sitting alone in the garden, his face clouded with worry. Taking a deep breath, she approached him. "Shagun, I need to tell you something." Shagun looked at her. "What is it?" he asked. Titi took his hand. "I have done something terrible." Shagun frowned. "What do you mean?" "I poisoned Adenike," she confessed, "and I used the charm on you." Shagun's eyes widened in shock. The world seemed to stop around him. As the words sank in, the woman he trusted, the woman he loved, anger surged in. "You did what?" he demanded, his voice trembling with fury and hurt. Titi bowed her head, tears streaming down her cheek. "I was desperate," she sobbed. "I thought Adenike was standing in the way of my happiness, and I wanted to love you." Shagun shook his head in disbelief, struggling to comprehend the depth of Titi's deception. The pain of betrayal cut deep into his heart. He stood up abruptly, pacing back and front. "You used me," Shagun finally said. "All the time I trusted you." Titi reached out to him. Shagun, please, I am sorry. I never meant for all this to happen. Shagun turned away. You need to leave, he said quietly. I need time to think. Titi nodded sadly, knowing she had lost everything. She stood up, her heart heavy with regret, and walked away, leaving Shagun alone with his thoughts. Shagun sat and sank onto the bench, his mind swelling with anger and sorrow and confusion. He had been deceived by the woman who claimed she loved him. He vowed to make things right and undo the damage Titi had caused. Little did Shagun know that the dark chapter would test his resilience and redefine his understanding of love. In the quiet village where Titi, Shagun and Abike lived, dark clouds gathered ominously, mirroring the somber mood. Titi had fallen seriously ill, and her health was rapidly declining. Shagun and Abike did their best to care for her, but Titi's condition seems to worsen with each passing day. Abike often found Titi staring out of the window, her eyes distant and filled with regret. One evening, as the sun dipped, Titi, Abike, she said, you need to rest. Please try to sleep. Titi's eyes met Abike and a tear rolled down her cheek. I'm sorry, Abike, she whispered. I never meant to hurt you. I was selfish and blind to my feelings. Abike squeezed Titi's hand gently. It is the past, Titi. What is important now is that you focus on getting better. Titi shook her head weakly. I don't think I have more time, Abike, and I know that you and Shagun can find happiness again. Gives me so much peace. Shagun entered the room, his face etched with worry. He sat on the other side. Titi, you have to fight. We need you here. Titi gave him a faint smile. I have made my peace, Shagun. Please promise me you will take care of each other. We promise you will do our best. The room was silent. In the early hours of the morning, Titi took her last breath. A profound silence filled the room. Shagun and Abike left to grapple with the loss of their beloved friend. They held each other, tears streaming their faces. In the days that followed, Shagun and Abike tried to come to terms with the grief. They buried Titi in the village cemetery, under the shade of a large old mango tree. The whole village gathered to pay their respect. After the funeral, Shagun and Abike found themselves standing at the crossroad. They had lost Titi, but they knew they had to find a way to move forward together. Titi's memory by building their lives and focusing on their future. Shagun, who had always been skilled with his hand, decided to expand his small woodworking and farming business. Abike, on the other hand, found solace in helping other villagers. Though her gift, Shagun and Abike discovered a new sense of purpose. She leaned on each other, walked side by side in the garden. Abike looked up in the sky, feeling a sense of peace. Shagun nodded, a small smile on his face. I think so too, Abike. We've come a long way, and we have each other to thank for that. As they continued their work, the village thrived around them, a testament to their resilience and the enduring bond they shared together. The end.